Hi there, I'm Tom. I publish fiction under the name T.H. Willoughby, and I'm going to talk for a little bit about building character arcs. More specifically, I'm going to talk about what I did this last week, which is to revise an existing manuscript to not necessarily add in a character arc, but to take one which I had solid in my mind and make sure it was equally as solid in the prose. And there's several ways that I did this. I've been planning this section of work for at least 2 months now, and I kept putting it off as I had other things to focus on, other bits I needed to tidy up with the manuscript, and to be honest, it isn't something which I find all that easy, so I was basically procrastinating. But what that gave me the opportunity to do is every time I went through the manuscript focused on something else, I was able to keep in mind the very basics of what I wanted the character to be and how I wanted them to be perceived, and it managed to... I could write down notes as I went through of things I spotted, of scenes I needed to add in, of traits I wanted to magnify, and also I kind of discovered some new traits in this process. So I kept writing those down, and when I got to actually start it at the beginning of this week, I created a flowchart. Not necessarily a flowchart, more of a mind map type thing. And I started on the character and the major traits that I already display, and I added in, I think I used squares for scenes in which these traits would display themselves, and I used triangles for characters they involved, and I used another shape, probably ovals or something, for the traits themselves. And then I connected all of those together, and then I started adding in the extra traits that I wanted to make sure I was showing off, and from then I could connect them to existing scenes and existing traits which worked well hand in hand, and I could add in extra scenes to that would fit into the manuscript nicely and allow me to show them off even more. So did all that, and then I could start writing, and it just kind of flowed really well. And I was a bit worried that it wouldn't work so well, because there's all this existing manuscript and I didn't know how much I'd have to add and how much would feel forced, and whether it would just feel like very disparate with the distinction between the existing prose and the new stuff. But I think the groundwork I laid as I was writing it originally was strong enough that I could insert this new stuff, and it worked as a lens to focus in and clarify things which were already there, instead of just like a hammer to smash things apart and push new stuff in. So that worked really well. I am pretty much done. I'm going to start my consistency check and continuity check next week, and I'm sure as I'm doing that I will find some places which I can use to even better exemplify it and tie it all in, and some bits which kind of don't work so well and need to be altered slightly to work with these new scenes. But that's the case whenever you add scenes, whether or not it's focused on character development or not. I definitely think next time I do this, I'm probably going to much earlier on in the writing process create these kind of flow diagrams for all of the characters, and then I hopefully won't need to do so much work after the fact. And doing that's going to be really helpful as well, because every scene I write with the character, I'll be able to look at the flow diagram and say, okay, which of these traits is the one that they are showing off in this particular scene, and is there another trait which I need to focus on more in future scenes? So that's just about all I've got for you today. I hope this has been a bit helpful, and whatever else you're doing today, have a good one. See ya.